Okay, let's dive into this really fascinating psychological tale from Japan's Taishō era. Now, this was a time of massive social change and westernization, and this story is all about creation, control, and what happens when obsession just completely spirals.
So this is the confession of our narrator, a man named Jōji. And right from the start, he thinks his story is more than just a personal affair. He sees it as, a case study for this new modernizing Japan. He literally sets out to build his perfect partner from scratch, and he documents the whole grand experiment.
You know, Jōji's whole plan starts out as this kind of social experiment, a way to add some color to his otherwise pretty boring life. But what he's really doing is playing with fire, messing with the super volatile dynamics of power and desire. And we're about to watch that experiment go beautifully and tragically off the rails.
So let's meet our creator. Jōji is a respectable but honestly a deeply bored electrical engineer. He's a model salaryman, but he has this very, very unconventional idea for how to escape the monotony and find himself a wife.
What's so wild here is the stark contrast. See, Jōji isn't looking for a partner, he's looking for a project. He spots this 15-year-old girl, Naomi, working in a café. And the first thing that draws him in is her name. It sounds Western, modern. To him, she isn't really a person, she's raw material. He even calls her a waitress's egg, just waiting for him to come along and shape her into his ideal woman.
So his plan is laid out like an engineering schematic, simple and, in his mind, totally logical. Step 1, rescue her. Step 2, educate her. Step 3, mold her into the perfect wife. In an era that's caught between old traditions and this new allure of the West, he doesn't see this as creepy. To him, it's just a rational, modern way to build the perfect marriage.
Okay, so the project is underway. And in the beginning, it looks like a spectacular success. Jōji is absolutely thrilled with his creation. So Jōji sets the stage perfectly. He moves her into this Western-style home he calls their fairy tale house. Her old, drab kimonos are gone, and she starts taking English and music lessons. And under his guidance, this quiet, kind of sullen girl he found just blossoms. She becomes the vibrant, modern woman of his dreams. Their home basically becomes this dollhouse, and their life is a game. He's the teacher, she's the student. He calls himself Papa-san, she's his big baby. They're running around playing hide and seek, and at one point he even gets on all fours and lets her ride him like a horse. It's idyllic, for sure, but also deeply unsettling in its inequality. But then they take a trip to the beach, and this becomes a huge turning point. The second he sees her in a bathing suit for the first time, his admiration shifts. It's no longer just about her potential to become some cultured lady. He becomes utterly captivated by her physical form, comparing her to American movie stars like Mary Pickford. But as you can probably guess, the project soon hits a major snag. The grand vision he had for her mind starts to clash, pretty violently, with the reality of who she is. And this really gets to the heart of the conflict. Jōji wanted this sophisticated, intelligent mind to match the westernized body he was shaping. But here's the thing, while Naomi's English pronunciation is beautiful, she just can't get the basics of grammar. He wants an intellectual partner, but her mind is just not cooperating with his grand design. So the lessons just devolve into total warfare. Jōji gets more and more frustrated, screaming, "Baka, baka, idiot, idiot," at her. The whole fairy tale dollhouse thing is now just filled with tension, and it all comes to a head in this huge confrontation where after being yelled at one too many times, she just rips her notebook to shreds right in front of him. And this is the moment. This is where the power dynamic completely flips on its head. Jōji is forced to face the failure of his initial plan, and he makes a very conscious choice that changes everything. So here's the crucial point. He decides to move the goalposts of his own experiment. He admits to himself, okay, he failed to cultivate her mind, but he succeeded spectacularly in sculpting her body. He totally abandons the project of educating her mind and just pivots to worshiping her body. He convinces himself that her physical perfection more than makes up for any intellectual shortcomings. The teacher is gone, and he's been replaced by an admirer. Now, Naomi senses this shift in power instantly, and she cleverly boasts that, oh, she was just pretending to be stupid all along, just to tease him. And Jōji, now completely devoted to her beauty, just chooses to believe her. He becomes a willing subject in his own experiment.
So let's get to the final stage, where the masterpiece learns how to manipulate and completely dominate its creator.
And, Jōji knows exactly what's happening. He compares himself to Mark Antony, who he used to think was a total fool for following Cleopatra. But now he gets it. He realizes Antony wasn't tricked. He chose to be deceived because the pleasure of it all was worth the ruin. And Jōji knowingly walks right into that very same trap. And this table just breaks down her new strategy perfectly. During their card games, right, whenever she starts to lose, she uses her body as a weapon. She'll loosen her gown, lean on his lap, use any little trick she can to just shatter his concentration. He calls it cheating, but she just says, well, that's part of the game when a man and a woman play. And he always loses. And get this intense dynamic just continues, totally locked away from the world for 4 years. But after 4 years, Naomi is bored. The dollhouse has become a cage, and their private little world is suddenly breached. A handsome university student from her music lessons invites her to a social dance club. And this forces Jōji out of his controlled environment and into a public, social arena where her beauty is on full display, and where he has absolutely no power. Which brings us to the final question Jōji has to face. He set out to create the perfect Western woman, a living doll to control and admire. But that doll has come to life with a will of its own. And in this very modern tale of obsession, it becomes pretty clear she's the one holding all the strings.